Okay, so here are the rails, and here is our show.
Completely off. Completely gone today. What in the world? Derailed.
Yay, you're here. Welcome to the CK and GK podcast. Let's get going.
Hi!
It's Tuesday!
It's Tuesday, and you're here, and we're so glad.
Welcome
Yay.
back, CK
Welcome
and
back.
GK.
Mm-hmm.
This is your first time. We are so glad you joined us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are coming back, thank you so much. Did you press the subscribe button?
Did you get a notification that we had a new episode today? Because if you were subscribing, you would have gotten a new notification. Yeah?
You're so fancy.
Yeah.
So, with me today is Caitlin. She's the one who taught me how to use my Apple Watch, how to delete entire columns in Google Sheets, and that you're actually supposed to rub in your dry shampoo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just a fun fact. If you put it in at night and then you sleep on it, it really rubs in really well and you wake up with like that awesome second day hair. That's my trick.
Or if you just spray it like me and you end up looking
you get
like
the
old
streaks.
time, like
right. Or like you're trying to look old in a high school play when they like spray your hair.
Or practice law in old time England.
Right. I may or may not be personalizing on that one a little bit, just a little, right? Yeah. Okay, well, she's Jenny. She's the only one of two, and then weirdly 3 daughters that Dad is proud of. It's Rachel Karen Green. Yay! Do you know that it's weird? She only talks about her sister in the beginning of the series, and then weirdly, she has another sister. It just shows up.
Or Family Matters, where the younger daughter, Judy, or whatever her name was, just disappeared.
Yeah. I guess as a kid I didn't notice, but now that's not normal. He's a cop. He should have been searching for her.
Like, that could have been a whole sub storyline.
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, before we move on, I want to give a few shout outs to some people who have given us reviews on Apple Podcasts. So I'm going to start there. What? So I think I've done this before, but I'm going to mention them again because they're just that cool. So there's someone called Axe Throwing Champ 2019. Thank you so much for giving us a review. Also, I really love your screen name in Apple Podcasts. I want to be an Axe Throwing Champ. Let's go Axe Throwing together. It be me, CJP. I know I've mentioned you before. I love you. Thank you so much. Someone named Film Rocker, Tap79, and Adam A. Red. All of you gave us wonderful reviews in Apple Podcasts, and we so appreciate it. It means the world to us. It helps us get any kind of cred, so that's really, really cool. And also, I want to give a shout out to the CEO of Teal. We need to talk about this real quick.
Dude, right?
Because if you've been a listener for a while, you know that in our resume and cover letter series, I was adamant that everyone needs to be using the Chrome extension Teal because it has a ton of resources for job seekers. And the CEO of Teal listened to our show and reached out to us. Oh my gosh, that's probably the coolest thing that's happened to us, aside from Johnsonville giving us swag. They're pretty high level. They're both pretty cool, I'll be honest.
I genuinely hope that he is going to listen to this and be like, wow, I'm almost as cool as Johnsonville.
Oh, man.
What do I need to do to get on that sausage level?
You have to give us free sausage or bacon. That's what you have to do because Jenny's house doesn't waste meat.
True story. Number 1 family rule.
Honestly, it was really, really cool just having a conversation with him. You know, it was via email, to be clear. He's a busy man. So it was just really awesome that he appreciated it and that he listened to an episode. And we're going to be featured in their newsletter at some point upcoming. So when we have that, it will be really, really cool. But those are my shout outs. All those people, y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for being a listener, for being someone who is paying any kind of attention to our show. We love it.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do circle time.
Circle time. Mm-hmm. It's on the carpet, crisscross applesauce. This is where we share about what we have experienced over the last week. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of sports.
This is a genuine sports update, right? Like we're actually talking current events in sports right now. This is real.
True story.
But this is like, you might actually be able to hold a conversation. Yes?
True story. This is water cooler material.
Yes, thank you.
So it is Stanley Cup time. You already have heard me talk about this forever. You know that Stanley Cup hockey season is my March Madness. Me and everyone in Canada. Okay. It's just...
Right.
So we are in the final, and it is the Tampa Bay Lightning against the Colorado Avs or Avalanche. And we are going to see a winner this week. And guys, like, just get on for the last few minutes of the last game, if nothing else, and watch those boys skate around with a trophy and high five each other. It's awesome. Also, it's Omaha time. Omaha is where the College World Series is held. It's also what the College World Series goes by colloquially. That's a hard word to say. The softball World Series already happened. OU won. Oh, who? But the baseball college championship is a double elimination 18 tournament. And the last two teams play a best of 3 series. So we have a link in the show notes about how to watch that and what games are when and how to figure out how double elimination works, because it's kind of hard sometimes.
Yeah, that's confusing. Also, can you please just say colloquially again one more time?
No.
It's really incalculable. I mean, that's really oh man, I love it. Okay, so last time we spoke, maybe it was 2 times ago, I believe we talked about the NBA championship game, yes? Or how that was coming
this
up.
Is when you time traveled and you were like, oh, it's going to be on tomorrow night. And I was like, tomorrow is not the June the 8th. And you're like, no, you're not doing math.
Because we air this on Tuesdays, right? So, okay, right. So here's what's happening. The championships are over. And last night, Golden State Warriors won the series over the Boston Celtics. It was a 5-game best of 7, but they won it in 5. So last night they won 103-90 over the Celtics. And there's been a lot of trash talking around Steph Curry, which is like, I'm not privy to that information. I don't understand why there is. I just think he's a genuinely good dude, so I don't really get the issue. But he was named NBA Finals MVP for the first time ever, which is kind of a big deal because he's actually been there. This is his 4th title in 8 years.
Jeez.
So it's not like he's new to the championships, but for some reason he's new to being the MVP. But he scored 34 points in the game and he averaged 31.2 points in the entire series. This is huge for him. So congratulations to Golden State and to Steph Curry. We are immensely impressed. That's like my home basketball team from all my time in Cali. So I'm impressed and go Warriors. Yay.
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 All right. It's time for some gems.
This is my favorite time. Yeah, this is my favorite time. I love it. I like to talk the sports. I really do, because I feel like I learn something every time, and I know that our listeners are like, oh yeah, it's good to have some sports talk, I guess, and understand. Yeah, just like something that I could interject in a conversation, or at least understand someone else's conversation. But gem of the week is my favorite. I cannot wait.
Okay, so a few weeks ago, I told you a story about me, and it involved my car and a gas pump.
Yes.
And them not being disconnected. If any of you are joining us for the first time, or you happen to miss that episode, let me recap it for you. I drove away with the gas pump.
Still in the car.
Still in the car. Pop! Comes right off. I go inside. Tell the 12-year-old working the desk, hey, I just drove off with the gas pump, but I swirled it up real nice for you and left it over by pump 4. Okay. I was by myself when this happened. Okay. And I have told the story several times, but always in person, because I want to see the people's face. And I want to get credit as the person that they know who actually drove off with it. So that when they see someone almost do it, they're like, I know someone who did. Right? This will be my legacy. However, by myself, right? This happened on my own.
Yeah.
My 3-year-old is in the back seat of the car last time I bought gas and said, Mommy, did you unplug it?
I mean, he knows his mom for sure. Mommy, like, make sure you do it this time. Oh, how funny. Yeah, good job. Well done.
All right. So the next story I have to tell you, I cannot even believe this happened to me in real life. I feel like I am living a meme.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this person is a listener and knows this story is coming out.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oh, no.
We are hanging out last weekend, my friend Crystal and I. Okay, so we are eating this rice pudding something or other that has different seasonings on it. It was a taste that went with a beer tasting that we were doing. Okay, this was like a little bite that was supposed to pair well with the beer. And it had
Nice.
cardamom in it.
Okay.
And Crystal looks across the table from me. She goes, I wonder what's in cardamom that makes your mouth tingle like that. And I just look at her, I was like, you're allergic to cardamom? Like,
it's
not supposed to make your mouth tingle.
It's not a tingly
thing. Is your tongue also getting bigger and like maybe your throat's starting to feel closed? Like if your mouth is tingling when you eat a food and it's not Szechuan peppercorns, you're allergic to it. She's like, I've always done this with cardamom. I'm like, you've always been allergic to it.
Is she itchy also? Is she scratching?
No.
It's just her mouth?
No, just her mouth. And she's just like, I just thought that's what it did.
Oh my goodness. It's like Pop Rocks.
You think people are drinking chai because they like that it makes their mouth tingle?
Oh my gosh. Oh, poor thing. Oh my gosh. She's just like walking around like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
and she's our age. Okay.
Oh, I love it.
I died. I was like, oh honey, you're allergic.
I kind of get it because it's like if she's not itching anywhere else and her throat's not closing up and she's not like starting to feel, like the world's closing in on her, like I could see why she wouldn't think. My child just chimed in. Did you hear that? He just goes, I love you, Mom. We can leave that in. But I could see why she wouldn't think I'm allergic to this. She's just thinking like this is just what my mouth does.
Right.
That's so weird. She's allergic to it.
Yes. Oh, we had yellow jackets building a nest above our door.
That's terrifying.
And, yeah, it's terrifying, but at the same time, I was like, hey, all these people who are like trying to get us to get a new roof, maybe we keep the yellow jackets by the door.
Oh. Now then they're going to be like, you really need a new roof because they're building one in the eaves.
But you're not going to ring my doorbell.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if you could, I think that there's like a few things you can do when that happens. I think you can hang a bird, like a birdhouse. If you just hang one, they know.
No, we just use chemicals.
Yeah. At dusk when they start to mellow out, you spray them with some real chemicals and then you run like the Dickens and you can get them that way.
You are using the wrong pronoun.
He will run like
them and he runs away. there is no you in this sentence.
Oh my goodness, that's really funny. Yeah, that sounds like something that I would not be participating in. I have done the wasp spray thing. I have been the one to do it, but I think I did it because somebody was out of town. I think my person was out of town and I would
move.
That's probably legit. I think a lot of people would be like, not touching. Or they might call someone.
Did I tell you? My next door neighbors one time, not at this house, but the previous one I lived in, they came and rang the doorbell. And they were a sweet couple, empty nesters. They came over and said, hey, I just want to let you know that we have a hive of bees living inside our house.
No.
And we have to have them moved. So you and your little girl might want to avoid the front door for a while.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I was like, I am avoiding this county for a while. Like you are kidding me with the bees living inside your house.
Yeah, no, I get it.
No.
Yeah, I get that. I really like bees. I think they do wonderful things for the earth and I want to preserve all the bees, but wasps are a different thing. They don't do the same work that honeybees do and I'm out. Like I'm not participating.
Right, no.
Yeah, no. Okay, so we've talked about my son's switch before. Yes?
Right.
Yes. And I don't know if I've told you this story, but I feel like it needs to be told because it made me laugh so hard when I figured out what was happening. So here's what's up. If you have a Switch, you can subscribe to you can subscribe to any like Nintendo game system games. So like you could subscribe to like N64 games. You could subscribe to like Super Nintendo games. And we have a subscription to Super Nintendo because, you know, that's the old school one that we love, right? So
Right.
so when my son was first learning how to play the OG Super Mario, the very first one that everyone knows, and it used to come on the little cartridge with Duck Hunt. Yeah, that one. That one. Mm-hmm.
That one.
So my son, when he gets irritated, makes this like noise that's very unsettling for my husband and I. And it actually is one of the things that if I had to rank the top 5 sounds that I wish I could burn in a fire, that would be one of the sounds, right? And he just gets more and more frustrated. So we are looking at him with the Switch. He wants to play it by himself. He knows he can, but he's like, it won't let me play. It's not letting me play. I can't jump. It always makes me die on this one thing. And it's like, I'm wondering what he's doing wrong that he can't do it. So I'm like, can I just please take a look? And I hear, no, you can't take a look. And he's getting very frustrated with me. And I finally was like, listen, you either need to show me what's happening so that I can help you, or we're going to put this away.
Stop complaining.
Right. Or we're putting this away. I can't listen to it anymore. Right. I just can't. So he shows it to me and he's like, see, watch me. I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to jump over and I can't jump over. He's been playing the demo. He hasn't pushed B to make it start. So every time little tiny Mario hits one of those little Koopas or whatever they're called, the little mushroom head things, he hits one of those every time because he can't jump over it because the game is not started. It's the demo over and over and over. And I'm like, no wonder you are so frustrated because...
But he'll have lots of fun in an arcade because he doesn't need any.
We have done that before. Here you go.
Who hasn't?
Right. Nice game. Go for it. He's getting better at it now. And once he learned, he hasn't made the same mistake. And he like checks on all the other games to make sure he's not playing a demo. But it made me laugh for eons when I figured it out. And you can't like laugh in front of him, right? Because then you're in trouble. Right. Then you're in trouble. But this was just too much. It was great. So that's my story.
So good. I bet he was really good at the start though.
He was pretty decent. Yeah. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, the start of the demo is always good.
Right. Yeah, you can jump over like one thing. You catch a mushroom. Yeah.
Get the mushroom. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Done. That's my gem. Do you have anything you're obsessed with right now?
Okay. I am obsessed with our headshots. So we modeled for trade, you and me.
Yeah, we did.
And so very soon, all of our listeners are going to be Googling female podcasters laughing, and they're going to see the greatest pictures of us as stock photos.
I think at some point my nails made it in. I think there's like some of my hands holding a microphone. Yes. Yeah. I haven't seen all of them yet, but yeah, they're coming out.
Oh my gosh. There's a great one of us sitting at a little cafe table laughing about how funny someone is. Must have been us. But the trade part was we also got headshots for the show.
Right.
And they're great.
Yeah, they came out super cute. Yeah, they really did.
Like the lighting is amazing. Like they just look super great.
I know. We'll have to put them up on our website.
Yes. But I want to give credit where credit is due. Katie Like was the photographer. You can find her on Insta at Live Love Like Photo, and like is with a Y because that is her last name. Mm-hmm. They're pretty cute. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. She did such a nice. It was really fun. Like she would tell us what to do to pose, and we would like really just laughed the entire time. And then we're taking our solo shots, and I couldn't stop laughing then either. So it was just, I don't really consider myself to be a very photogenic person. That's why I have a face for podcasting, but I just enjoyed working with her. So again, Katie Like with a Y, and Live Love Like. You look fabulous. Oh, thank you. I worked really hard.
That's your joy for sure.
It was like building a boat, right? It like takes all afternoon to make yourself look like that.
I have never heard this.
It's a line from Will and Grace. Like, she gets herself dressed up for this like event, and she goes, Will, you jumped in a tux. It took you all of 5 minutes. This took all afternoon. It was like building a boat. She was like, you look nice. And he's like, oh, thanks. And didn't even say anything to her. Like, no compliment came her way. Just, oh, thanks.
Hello.
Right. Also, I look beautiful.
You don't actually look nice. I'm just waiting for you to say I look nice.
Right. I worked really hard on this. It was hours. Like, could you just... Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that it was similar for me. It was a while that I spent making myself look put together only for my hair to frizz up. But it's okay. They came out great.
The pictures were done after the school day, and I may or may not have worn hot rollers while I was teaching science. And when the kid's like, Miss GK, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just extremely vain. So I want my pictures to look good. I do not have too much pride to wear curlers around middle schoolers. So here we go.
No, it's like part of your costume for the day. No big deal.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So the
anything else?
This is not a healthy obsession, but it's
okay.
I'm turning it into a healthy one when it finally comes true.
Okay.
We are on Vax Watch at our house.
Okay.
We have seen the steps. We have seen the CDC say good. We have seen the FDA say good. We're still waiting on the last step, but please get that shot in my kid's arm.
Yeah, I get it. I know. It's coming up though. I'm pretty sure I saw something that said like most states have ordered the young children's dosages and they're just waiting for like, okay, can you get it in our hands and then we can start giving it out.
Yes. We told Kit that we're very close. And he said, well, I don't want to get a shot. And I said, no, you do. You get to pick dinner.
Right.
I don't want dinner. I said, fine, you can get ice cream. He says, okay. Can I get 2 COVID shots?
Nice.
Said, yep, you can get 2 COVID shots and you'll get ice cream both times. Can I get a lot of COVID shots?
Sweet boy, we will give you as many as are needed. Don't you worry.
But I am telling you, I am so happy that his bribery has changed to ice cream.
From butter?
Because it used to be, I was giving him butter. Right? So at least now I can bribe him in public. Okay. After your shot, you can have some butter.
In front of the doctor. After your shot, you can have some cholesterol. Here you go.
Although my doctor has 4 children of his own, so my guess is
I'm
would just
sure
like,
he would get it. Yeah, you do what you gotta do. Yeah, we were doing cake pops from a very well-known coffee chain for a while. Yes. Yeah, we would do that. We would get the shot, go to the well-known coffee chain, get a kid's hot chocolate and a cake pop, and just sit and have breakfast and then go to school. Breakfast, right? Like not, I mean, it wasn't all breakfast, but it was like a treat.
Oh, please. On Abigail's birthday, her breakfast is a cupcake. I don't care.
Yeah, no.
It's not like you're doing this every day.
Right, exactly. Well, and it was my child's birthday yesterday, and we went to all kinds of places and had all kinds of horrible food. So whatever. Right. It's fine. We're loading him up with fruit today.
Including moderation.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Okay, well, I'm kind of going to piggyback a little bit on your obsession with our headshots, because we also we're starting to have merch, you guys. And Jenny hasn't seen this, but look, our magnets are here.
They look so good.
We had these cute little magnets and they came out so cute. Seriously, like precious. They are from a company called Sticker Mule, and Sticker Mule, if you're listening and you want us to, if you want to hook it up, you're going to get more of our business.
Right?
I'm a magnet person because I don't want to put stickers on my car. Stickers make me have anxiety because I can't rearrange the same way. I guess if they're vinyl stickers, you can, right? Like that's usually fine.
Like color forms?
Did you know that's a TV show, like, or a Netflix show? There's a Netflix show based on, like color forms.
No, there's not. That's hilarious.
I swear. Yeah, my child's been watching it. Stickers just give me anxiety. So, because I can't move them. What if I don't want it here? So it makes me uncomfortable. So I love magnets. Okay, so anyway, so we have these magnets and they're adorable. And if you want one, we're happy to give them out. But also, maybe we'll start selling merch, you guys. I don't know. That would be so fun.
Yeah. And I'm excited about the magnets and the stickers. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But the thing I am most excited about are the zip-up jumpsuits. Oh my gosh, y'all, they are so cute. They are this like orange with yellow polka dots, and they have our faces embroidered on the back. And for an extra $20, we'll put your name on the front.
That is not a real thing.
Who doesn't want a CK and GK coveralls? Come on.
With the orange polka dotted mess. Like, I can't. Oh man, it's totally my style too. If you know me, you know I totally dress that way all the time. Oh my god.
I mean, right now she's wearing purple and orange stripes. So
I am.
no, she's not.
No, I am not.
If anyone gets in trouble for what they're wearing today, I'm wearing a swimsuit cover up as a dress, and I went shopping in it today.
But you know, it is what it is. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that was all to say we have magnets and stickers are coming. So yay!
I'm so excited.
We promise not to make anything hideous. Anyway, magnets and stickers. Yay. Okay, so
last week we broke down some LGBTQ plus vocabulary, particularly around gender identity.
Right. It was all related to gender identity. And then today we're going to be cutting back to the second part of that interview where Ariella talks to us about sexual orientation. And I think we kind of previewed that in our last episode, but she really does get into different labels within people within the community. So yeah, it's all super helpful.
So I was talking to someone just yesterday about this. She said, oh my gosh, I am so glad that you are doing this work because I don't want to look like an idiot. Like I don't support my friends.
She can speak to it because she does label herself as bisexual. So to me, it was a very helpful thing to be able to do. But I also feel like for me, there are things and distinctions that I don't know that I was like, I do support my friends, but if I don't know the words, then I haven't done the work to truly be a supporter and to truly be an ally. And so I did say to her, like, you know, I appreciate how much you are willing to teach because this is work that I am doing, but I didn't do enough of it, and you're willing to teach me. And it is my job, again, as I've said before, it is my job as a person outside the community to learn about the things inside the community as best I can so that I can be as inclusive as possible, right? But she was really helping me out with that. And I hope that so far her explanations have been helpful to our listeners. And so we're going to bring her back and have her talk about orientation for us.
Excellent.
Yep. So here's that part. And go.
Let's move into the sexual orientation terminology. So the heteronormative thing, right, is to assume that everyone is heterosexual. We know that that's not true. There are plenty of other sexual orientations underneath this massive list of words. And one of the ones we hear about, you know, that we hear the common ones, right? The L, the G, the B, the T, the Q, those are in there for a reason, but the L, G, and B are the ones who you hear about the most. So I don't think we need to necessarily go into the L and the G. I think we know what those are, right? Mm-hmm. But let's talk about some of the other ones. Let's start with the B then, right? The B stands for what?
Bisexual.
I'm
sorry, I'm getting a little loopy, but
no, I love the big smile on your face. I love it. It made me so happy. Tell me about this word.
Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit and go to sexual orientation.
Yes, please.
So sexual orientation. Now, this is a person's romantic or sexual attraction to people of the other and or same gender. So,
or not, right? Because there could be the whole spectrum of things. Okay.
Right. Okay. So these are your sexual orientation is, just broadly put the people that the gender that you are attracted to.
Okay.
Either romantically or sexually. Now, you may hear people say sexual preference, but preference always implies a choice. So like we all have preferences, like, like I prefer chocolate ice cream, but if vanilla is available, I will eat vanilla ice cream.
Participate in the vanilla. Yes.
Understood. I will participate in the vanilla. And I'm seriously talking about ice cream here. This is not a euphemism or anything. I am literally talking about ice cream.
This is a family show.
So so preference implies a choice, and sexual orientation is not a choice. You know, as Lady Gaga would say, you are born this way. It might take you 38 years to figure it out. I'm definitely not talking about myself there.
No, there's no personalizing that at all. No,
I didn't personalize that at all. So it might take you some time to figure it out, but your sexual orientation is something that you are born with. You know, you don't watch a movie and, you know, become gay. You know, you don't go to a pride parade and now you're a lesbian. It doesn't work like that.
Oh man, you're speaking to so many red states right now. Okay, so let's let's go. So let's talk about that in the context of bisexual. Let's do that
Right.
because I feel
Okay.
like that to me sort of lends itself to orientation versus preference.
Right, exactly. So bisexual it describes a person who has the potential to be physically, romantically, or emotionally attracted to people from two or more genders. So we just talked about gender being a spectrum, right? So there's two or more genders.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing with bisexuality, it's not necessarily, you know, at the same time or in the same way or to the same degree. So it's not like you're bisexual and you're attracted to women like 50% and attracted to men 50%. In that attraction, it could be, this is why there's the stereotype of the chaotic bisexual. This is why.
Okay, tell me why. What's going on?
So basically
That's
chaotic
funny.
bisexual.
Okay.
So, you know, basically speaking is that when you know, people who are bisexual, and this, I think in my experience coming out, this is something that it's a very common thing that bisexuals are confused about, because we're so used to a binary, right? We're so used to, you know, men and women. So we kind of just see it as, you know, bi means two. So clearly you have to be attracted.
Right.
50% of my attraction is for women and 50% of my attraction is to men.
Right.
When
It's
that's
easy that
not
way. It's clean that
right.
way.
It's
It
nice and
makes sense
clean.
to
And
people.
that is not how, and that's not really how it works. You know, you could lean toward more masculine energy. Personally, I lean toward more masculine energy. It's why I would leave my family for Chris Evans. So
Winter Soldier is her comfort movie,
right.
folks.
This
Go
is
back and listen to that episode if you
right.
haven't
Go
heard
back
her
to that.
talk
Listen
about
to right. And then, you know, so I lean more toward you know, lean more toward being attracted to men, and I'm attracted to men in a very specific kind of way, whereas my attraction to women is in a different sort of way. And that is something that I don't think people really kind of really understand about bisexual. Also looking at the bisexual umbrella. So under the bisexual umbrella, you also have the term pansexual, which is, I guess, I don't know when it came about, but it is fairly new in terms of, you know, the LGBT labels.
Okay.
And this is somebody who has the potential for emotional, romantic, or sexual attraction to people, regardless of gender. So gender doesn't get factored in to attraction.
Okay.
It's the David Rose, I like the wine, not the label kind of thing.
Yes.
So gender presentation of a person does not get factored into attraction. And pansexual is under the bisexual umbrella. So all pansexuals are bisexual, but not all bisexuals are pansexual. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Like, I personally don't identify as pansexual because gender and gender presentation plays a role in how I am attracted to a person.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So that's where, and I should say that There are a lot of people that think labels make things more complicated, but there are also people like myself that find labels with definitions to help them understand parts of themselves that they might have difficulty putting words to. And just like when we were talking about with the word queer, wait to see how a person describes themselves before you kind of identify for them.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, this is so misunderstood, I think outside the community, but you're mentioning inside the community too. But I go back to there was an episode of Sex and the City way back in the day, and it's one where Carrie is in a relationship with a man who identifies as bisexual, and she makes some comments that are not appropriate in my mind about what bisexual means. And once again, Samantha to the rescue to say, like, no, actually it's this, and it doesn't mean what you're saying, which was that basically she thought he was confused about who he was.
Right.
And I think that having the clarity there about the terminology, I'm with you in that some people, I agree, the labels can be complicated and they can make things fussy, but I think those are people who don't need to label anything, right? Like there's a lot about their life that they're okay with things just sort of being free flowing, and that's just but as someone who has folders for my folders and then can't find anything, right, to be clear, that's what ADHD does, right? But someone who has that and needs to understand the logistics of something, having that clarity between pan and bisexual is important to me, because now I can when someone uses that term, I mean, I'm thinking of fellow podcasters in the indie podcast community. There's a couple that I know of who have a podcast and they identify as pan, and now I actually know what that means. That's very helpful for me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think especially with the bisexual part of the community, and I think the last statistic that I saw is that like 50% of the queer community identify as bisexual.
That's huge.
That's huge. So I was just on Twitter today, and to see the biphobia within the community that was the most disappointing thing that I learned about the queer community. Once I was like, oh no, I'm not just a really big ally, I'm actually in this community. Was that there are, even within the community, like the Sex and the City episode, is that, bisexual men, I think in a lot of ways probably get it harder than bisexual women, because they are just, a lot of people think they're just on their way to gay, like they're just confused, like they're just, they're just one date away from actually being gay. And that's not true, for a lot of people. I think it's hard to, again, like for people like who are our age and are, late 30s and, millennials.
My forehead is 25 years old.
Absolutely. And it is gorgeous. And I'm so happy to be looking at it right now.
Anyway, you were saying Caitlin's forehead is 25 and the rest of her is 38. That's fine. No big deal.
That's fine. That's fine. Ariella will be 40 in...
No, you won't. It's fine. No big deal. Your hair is so youthful.
It is. It is
all kinds of colors. Yeah.
All kinds of color. So I think that breaking down these, stereotypes is super, super important.
This feels, I mean, I'm good. You in our conversations outside of this, I've said this many times, but this feels like the patriarchy to me. This feels like I want to burn it all down, right? Like the idea that it's we hypersexualize women, right? So the idea that women might have a romantic or sexual attraction to anyone on the gender spectrum, that to people is attractive and acceptable.
Right. Yeah.
Especially if she looks a certain way, right? But for men, because the patriarchy says no, 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 you can't do that, it almost feels like by being bisexual and there would be people who are enforcing and upholding the patriarchy who are like, if you're bisexual, why would you ever participate in a romantic or sexual relationship with a man, right? Because if you do have relationships with women, why wouldn't you just do that?
Right.
You know what so I mean that is very troubling to me, and knowing that now, that also is going to make me more aware and just be more mindful of things like that, so that if I hear it, I can, ask my favorite question, which is, what do you mean by that?
Yep.
That's my favorite question. Tell me, can you clarify what you mean by that?
Exactly.
People are like, so there is an A in this LGBTQIA, and I think we've covered all the other things, but the A. So can you tell me about that?
So A is for asexual or ace, and this describes a person who is generally not sexually attracted to any person regardless of their gender. And the romantic version of this is aromantic or arrow. So they just don't feel romantic feelings towards people regardless of their gender, and asexual people don't feel sexually attracted to any person regardless of their gender. They are another one that sort of gets lost in the community. So I think it's good to kind of highlight them. This has been sort of another, like we were talking about before, people who are non-binary or trans, like not kind of wanting to understand, but not being able to understand. Like, I cannot for the life of me understand not having sexual attraction or romantic attraction. So naturally I have lots of questions and trying to like seek out these answers so that I can try to understand what an ace person, how they kind of walk through life. And, the people that I know that are ace who answer my questions have been, super, super wonderful, and explaining it to me in a way that is just really, 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 really accessible for my brain, which sometimes stuff online is not accessible for my brain at all.
I mean, to be clear, the whole point of this show is that like we take concepts that like are maybe foreign to people and then like explain it to them as though you are speaking to Caitlin, who needs it in kindergarten language. So I mean, I am smart, but there's a lot that I can't process right away. And so having someone break this down in language that is accessible matters. That's why the vocabulary is so important to me, because people need to know what these things mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone through the L, the G, the B, the T, the Q, the I, and the A, and there's a plus at the end of that. Is this just for everything else that doesn't get added into this term? This list of terms that you and I pulled together, it has 50 terms on it.
Yeah. There are so many that I am learning like yesterday. There are, like to be the person who keeps dating, aging us. Like when we grew up, it was just LGBT, and then at some point, I think when we were like in college, like the Q gets added, and then like, then a plus sign gets added. And like, so we have been alive to like see, where this stuff isn't even acknowledged, to just it changing, and it changes constantly. Like I see terms. I saw one that I was like, oh man, what is that? And I had to like Google it. I can't remember. Androsexual.
There's
something androsexual, and that's just people who are attracted to like male, tend to be more attracted to male presenting people, like not necessarily men, but male presenting people.
Interesting.
When did that get added to the list?
Yeah, I didn't even. Yeah, exactly. I mean, You know, the term that I heard, so there are some really cool like pronouns that I've been seeing. There's one that like starts with an X that I don't know how to pronounce, but like there's like a Z, like instead of calling someone your aunt or your uncle, you call them like Zia or something. I don't know. There's some really cool ones like that I don't know how to use, and so I'm going to refrain from using them too much. But you know, the one that I've seen a lot of that I really, really love is nibbling.
I know. It is so cute.
I love that. And that's just like, for those of you who don't know, I have a friend who uses this term with her nibblings, and it's a gender neutral term for your niece or your nephew, right? So it's like not assigning this tiny person pronouns for them.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Which to me is so important. Like, you know, we already over sexualize children so much. Like saying to someone's, you know, kindergartner, ooh, do you have a girlfriend? Or ooh, do you have a boyfriend? And it's like they're 5 years old. Like, can you stop it?
I know.
But so I loved the idea of calling someone your nibbling. I thought that was so precious.
It is so cute. I want nibblings.
Honoring. Oh yeah, I want nibblings too. I love it. So there's more to it. I think that there's a lot of other things that could be mentioned here. Something that's big in Texas for me that matters right now is gender affirming care. This is a big deal. And if you're listening, there is a fundraiser on our Facebook page that we've started for the Trevor Project, just to sort of assist in the crisis that someone who is learning that they are part of the community or is already in the community and they're experiencing a mental health crisis. That's what the Trevor Project does, is it fundraises to be able to help those people and provide services in those moments of crisis and suicide prevention. But let's talk about gender affirming care just for a second here.
Okay, so going by the World Health Organization's definition, gender affirming care, it encompasses a range of social, psychological, behavioral, and medical interventions that are designed to support and affirm an individual's gender identity when it conflicts with the gender that they were assigned at birth. So this is kind of like what we were talking about earlier, that, you know, a person can be, you know, transgender and just be, you know, socially, you know, like transition socially. So dressing in the gender identity that they
self-identify as.
Yes, that they self-identify as.
But this could also be the physical transition as well.
It can be. So, and this is where, you know, my understanding and what I've been reading about gender affirming care, because now North Carolina is trying to get on this bandwagon too.
Yeah.
It can be, you know, the use of hormone blockers or, you know, or anything like that. But it could just be as simple as, you know, your child's pediatrician using the pronouns that your child wants, you know?
Yeah. That's it's so, I mean, people think about how, yes, it can be hard to retrain your brain to use different pronouns. It really can. But your doctor sees your kid, what, 2 or 3 times a year?
Yeah.
Your pediatrician should be using the words that child wants to be.
Exactly. And it's,
referred
you
to
know,
as.
it's, you know, checking in with that child, you know, providing counseling for that child, you know, just affirming to that child
that they can be who they are.
Exactly. And so, and, you know, maybe it does, you know, involve, you know, different kinds of medical interventions, but, you know, for some kids, it's just like going to the doctor, you know, dressed the way they want to be dressed, and your doctor and their doctor treating them like a human being with love and respect, and not being like, you know, what's wrong with you? Why is your hair long? Or why is your hair so short? You know? And so I think the medical interventions kind of gets a lot of like the media attention, and it gets a lot of the attention. But, you know, from what I've been reading from, you know, because this gender affirming care, it is applicable to all ages, but the policy issues are just impacting children right now.
Right.
So just to say that even though stuff like puberty blockers and all of that type of stuff, even though that's the stuff that kind of gets that gets the attention, it really could just be, it really just comes down to stuff like using, your child's pronouns that they identify with,
I mean, yeah. There's so much that we could get into on this that would probably throw me into a fit of rage. So maybe we don't do that here.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important to know that the Supreme Court didn't actually give same-sex couples the right to marry until 2015.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2015, like, first of all, that's nuts that it's only that recent. I've been married for longer than this case has been has been the precedent for marriage
Right.
in this country.
It's like one of those things where, like, do you remember where you were when the Supreme Court ruled that same-sex couples had the right to marry? Like, I was standing in a Bojangles.
And for our regional listeners who don't know what a Bojangles
that's a fried
explain.
chicken chain. It's a fried chicken chain that is, honestly, I'm gonna say it, it's better than all of the other ones.
You're speaking to people who,
especially Chick-fil-A.
Well, that's a very, very important statement you just made, given the context of what we're talking about. That's very
right.
There are so many, anyway, but to this gender affirming care thing, and the fact that same-sex couples have only been allowed to marry and receive the same benefit. That's really what the case was, right? It was not just it wasn't just the right to marry, but it was also that these same-sex couples were afforded the same benefits to marriage that quote unquote regular heterosexual couples who would marry would receive, right? So yes, it's the right to marry, but it's also to ensure that the same benefits were provided to both.
Basically the same legal protections and
and
there
all
it is.
That's the term I was looking for.
Yeah. The legal benefits of being married were afforded to same-sex couples as well as straight couples.
Right. This case was Obergefell versus Hodges. Yes.
Hodges. Yep.
Yes. And so I think when people talk about it, they don't really say the whole case. They just say Obergefell and that's the end of it. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's important to know that we still are not there, right? Yes, we have this ruling, but we don't have, at least in Texas, there's not the same rights to gender affirming care. Let's talk about the Equality Act for a little bit here, just, before we wrap things up, because I think this one is a big deal.
So people within the LGBTQIA plus community do not have the same civil rights protections under federal law, and additionally in 29 states that cis het straight people do. So this means that they can be denied housing based on their sexual orientation or gender identity. They can be fired. So like in North Carolina, we don't have a statewide non-discrimination ordinance. So like I could be fired for being bisexual. Somebody could be denied housing because they are trans, and there are no federal protections against this type of discrimination.
So this Equality Act, is it supposed to afford the same protections as, let's say, like, women do when they are at an employer, like, or people of color,
right,
who are not supposed to be discriminated against? Is it that sort of idea, and it would just codify that information or that law?
So it would make members of the queer community a protected class. So in doing so, there would be legal consequences for being fired, for being denied housing. So like right now, you can't be fired based on your religion. You can't be denied housing based on your religion, but you can be fired for being gay. You can be denied housing for being transgendered, because these are not considered a protected class under federal law. And 29 states don't have anything in place. So they're like, all the other states have put in their own laws into place. So, the people in those states are covered, but like in North Carolina, we don't have a state law that would cover that. So it's kind of piecemeal, like a city might have something like this, or a county might have something like this. The Equality Act would make a federal law, so it would kind of cover, everything.
It's interesting to me, and this is me and my brain just, rotate, the gears are turning, how we can continue to not have protections in place at the federal level for every body, every person, because we all identify as people. I mean, maybe there are some people who identify as aliens. I don't know. I don't want to judge or assume, but like the fact that this is not something that's done at the federal level right now is a problem. Is there something that we can we urge? Can we call our politicians? Can we ask that they consider moving this forward? Is there something we can do right now?
Yeah, I mean, it is currently stalled in Congress. I have not checked on the status of it, but I think especially during Pride Month, it would not be a bad thing to, shoot your Congress people an email, or give them a call, or a persuasive email, or a postcard saying that you want the Equality Act to continue moving forward. Because I mean, I can tell you that just today I saw a counselor, a town counselor in a town in North Carolina, who was looking for volunteers to speak at the next public hearing about the town adopting the county's non-discrimination ordinance. And she was trying to find somebody to speak out against adopting the non-discrimination ordinance. Right. And so
here's the thing,
this
and
is still applicable.
Yeah, this still matters. This is how I think I'm just going to wrap this up here. Ultimately, it is my belief that regardless of what religion or background you have, whatever it is, the religion of be nice to people is a good one to abide by. And coming from we always tell our son, like, your job is to come from a place of kindness. Your job is to come from a place of empathy. If you can't understand where someone's coming from, that's okay. You just say, I hear what you're saying. And then you attempt to move on from there. And this is kindness, right? Treating someone as an equal is kindness.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a place that we can all sort of agree is a place to start. And so, how you choose to advocate for other people is not anyone's business but your own. But that said, you can come from a place of kindness. And then from there, you can decide how you're going to engage with the community around you, be it your own community or a community that you're not a part of. So I personally am taking this information that you've given us today, and I'm just sort of percolating it in my brain and thinking about how I can use it to come from a place of kindness and support the people that I know and that I love who are a part of the community, because there are enough in my life that I know that it's bigger than what you think it is, right? The community is larger than what you think it is. It's full of more people than you think it is. So just coming, trying to come out of that space of heteronormativity and trying to come out of that space of cisgender is the only thing that you can be, and seeing that gender expression and identification is on a spectrum. All of that stuff is going to be really, really important, I think, as time goes on. And I know which side, if we're going to choose sides here, I know which side I want to be on,
right.
which is the side of always coming from a place of kindness and always coming from a place of understanding, or not sympathy, empathy, because I don't sympathizing is a different thing.
Right.
So these words are going to help me. I hope that they're going to help our listeners. I so appreciate the fact that you were willing to come here and, as you said, be my token for a little while here. And just like share a little bit about your own story. Like, that's important. And, normalizing these conversations, I think, is going to be one of the only ways to get people to understand how important it is that we allow people to be who they are. So,
yeah. And I think it's worth noting too, something that, especially during Pride Month, is that not everybody feels safe to come out. So there may be people in a person's life that are still living in the closet for one reason or another. And I think, people who think that maybe like the queer community around them is kind of small, it's probably much larger than they think it is. Because not everybody feels like they're in a safe place to come out. I personally was I've been married 11 years, so to a man, to a cishet male. And, so the question is like, why bother coming out? And it's like, well, because I'm safe. My husband is supportive. My family is supportive. My friends are supportive. And I can use the privilege of safety.
Yes.
To talk to other people and to make other people feel safe and answer questions and be authentically myself for my 5-year-old.
Right. The fact that you've been married longer than you've been an open member of the community that's huge. Like, that's such a big deal, you're right. It's all about a feeling of safety. And again, if it's not safe to be out where you are, I hope that you can get to a place where you are safe so that you can be your authentic self. And I plan to continue to fundraise for the Trevor Project and continue to put my money where my mouth is and provide those safe spaces, since, not all of you live near me. Since you don't all live here, and let's be clear, not every state is open to the community. I want to continue to do what I can to help provide those safe spaces. So if you're so inclined, if you're feeling inspired, or if you're feeling like you don't know where to put your money to support anyone who is experiencing any sort of crisis about who they are and where they are, feel free to go on to our Facebook page and find our fundraiser. It's pinned to the top of the page for the Trevor Project. But there are plenty of other available, reputable organizations that will do all that they can to assist people who are in the community and need help.
Absolutely. And I think the more people that do it and the more people that start using this language will help others feel safe. And I think more people will start to feel, hopefully, if the Pride event I went to a couple of nights ago with a whole bunch of college students and high school students is any indication, like, I think things are going to get better because they are just so unapologetically themselves.
Authentic. Yeah. It's amazing.
In a way that our generation was not allowed to be.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about the terms that we used to use to put other people down, right? A lot of them come from this list of vocabulary words. So just how far I'm just thinking about my own self. I'm gonna brag on myself here a little bit and say like I feel like I personally have grown a lot, but learning more all the time and acknowledging the fact that since I'm not part of the community, I need to be able to accept people where they are for who they are and then show support by advocating for them, since I am a white middle class cishet female who, if I get angry enough, maybe people will start to listen. So that's my plan. And I'm sticking to it. And that's the end. and that's our conversation. We could do so much more about this, but we are at the CK and GK podcast. We are huge allies of I'm a relatively small person, but I am a big supporter of the community, and I'm sending love to my people because they know who they are if they're listening. So yeah. Okay, thank you so much for being here and for being a safe person to ask these questions of. That's really, really important. So you're doing the work
to answer questions.
You do love to answer questions, but you're so stinking good at it. She's going to become our researcher when we have money.
It's my reporter in me.
She's going to be our researcher. She's going to do the work. When we can pay her, she's going to really be on this show all the time. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, again, thank you for being here, and we're going to wrap it, and I'll send it back over to Jenny.
All right. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
And we're back.
We are. Can I just real quick say that what she and I decided to call this interview is, quote, Pride Labels for Straights. It made me laugh so hard. Well, I mean, we'll for sure, again, just as we did last time, have all of these definitions and terms linked in our show notes because we feel like it's important for you to have that information. And also there were so many different names and labels that we didn't cover.
This is exactly what I was about to say, is I would love to continue this conversation. So if you are a listener who has some information that you would love for us to share, there are so many ways to get in touch with us. You can DM us on Insta. Yeah. You can tweet at us.
Yep.
You can email us. And you can also come and knock on our doors.
No.
My address is posted in the show notes.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. But I do monitor our email. I monitor our social media accounts. We're on TikTok. If you want to tag us in a video on TikTok and tell your story that way, that would be a great way to do it too. Any way that you want to share.
Oh, I forgot about TikTok because I'm Gen X.
There are some Gen Xers on TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you can find us in any of those social media channels, or you can email us at ckandgkpod@gmail.com and just let us know what we need to know. We're open to learning and feedback, and that's really the point of this whole show. So we definitely want to learn from you. And if you have something you want to share, send it our way.
Okay. So now it is time for me to say, rate, review, subscribe. Thank you to those of you who have. Because this week, we were the number 6 show on
What?
Pods.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Out of top 100, number 6 most popular show.
We frequently end up on Good Pods charts. I don't know if you guys know what Good Pods is, but I'm going to give a shout out to Good Pods here too, just because they really support indie podcasts. And the nice thing about anything on Good Pods is that whenever someone listens to your show, it shows up in a feed. So everyone has an opportunity to see what their friends have been listening to. So that's pretty cool. If you would like to find our show on Good Pods, we are there. And I will follow you back. We'll all just share each other's content because I'm learning. Here's something I've learned. And this is probably going to end up on TikTok as one of my laundry room thoughts that I've been sharing, but I'm annoyed that you have to be famous in order to be famous. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. It takes money to make money, Caitlin.
Right. Well, it's okay, well, we're going to back this show because they're famous people, which there's nothing wrong with famous people. It's just not a meritocracy. It's just not. But also, Jenny and I are funny. So
We
if you
are
could just go
funny.
ahead and listen to it. If you could just go ahead and listen to us.
Remember when I made up that we were going to have coverall jumpsuits? That was hilarious.
That was horrifying. Never, never, never.
Tell you what.
Yeah.
If we get 1 million listens, I'll make you that jumpsuit.
Yes! That's totally legit. I'm into it.
I mean, we're really close to that already, so get ready.
2000 what?
and this, whoever is the 1,000,000th listener will also get the jumpsuit.
Yeah. Yes.
Orange with yellow polka dots, both of our faces embroidered on the back, and I'll throw in the name on the front.
Nice.
For the 1,000,000th listener.
A billionth or millionth?
1,000,000th.
Okay.
We don't have to get to 1 billion. That's a lot.
No, I don't think we need to get to 1 billion listens. Do people even do that? Is that a thing? Do people get to 1 billion listens?
Isn't that what Gangnam Style is?
Oh yeah. I was just thinking of podcasts.
Oh, sorry.
You think like MFM or like Smartless has 1 billion listens maybe?
No.
Okay.
1 billion is a lot.
1 billion is a lot. But that would mean that there are people who've listened to every single episode multiple times. And they're still pulling in new listeners.
If you balance 1 billion kids on their shoulders, they would go past Saturn.
What? That's a lot.
That is a lot. It's one of my favorite books from when I was a kid. Stephen Kellogg's How Much is a Million? And it breaks down the large numbers in terms that children can understand. Like, how big would a fishbowl be if it held 1 billion fish? Or how long would it take for you to count to 1 billion out loud? And it's something like 832 years.
No thanks. I'm good. They use rice to show like amount of wealth. And that's what, like, they always show the amount of rice that is 1 billion grains of rice compared to like 1 million grains of rice. And it's insane.
Oh.
Yeah, it's insane. If I find it, I'll put it out on social media. If I can find it.
We're also going to put a link in the show notes to Powers of 10, one of my all-time favorite old school teaching videos, where it shows you like what it's like to use exponents, and it like zooms out.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Out into space, and then it zooms in, and it like gets down to the level of an atom. And they remade it in the 2000s, and it is not as good as the 1970 version.
No, find the old version.
Oh, I'm finding the old one.
Yeah.
Thanks, PBS.
And on that note, we're going to go.
Make good choices.
Don't count to 1 billion. Or wear orange jumpsuits. No.
Unless, of course, you're in prison, at which point they are very stylish.
Yeah. Then you make it your own. I'm into it. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.